welcome to the Behind the Drapes podcast. I'm your host, Expo Rich. We are recording here from IAEE EXPO EXPO show floor. And my honored guest today, and first of the show, Liz Irving, is the newly named CEO of Clarion Events.
Thank you, Rich. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I was very excited to hear this news recently because we know each other for quite a few years now, and I've been able to see your career progress in the last few that we've been friends. So this new responsibility is like, I was so honored and I was so happy to see that for you, and I know that well deserved, and I know you're going to do so many amazing things there. So
thank you so much. It means a lot. And first of all, your friendship means a lot. I think I've learned from you so much over the years, and what makes this special now is that I've got an amazing team around me and amazing colleagues in the industry, so I wouldn't want to be in any other place.
No, that's great. And so before we get deeper into what's going on now, I actually love to hear everyone's origin story. And the reason why I always find them fascinating because they're all so different, because people that are at or around our level, none of us went to school for this.
No.
So we all went to school for something else and found this by happenstance some way or another. So I would love to hear how you first found yourself at your first position in the industry.
Yeah, it's actually funny because I feel like I'm going to age myself. So I applied to the New York Times for an ad for a job for a registration manager.
Oh, wow.
And I moved from upstate New York. I was working for the Buffalo Sabres hockey team. I'm like, oh, I can do trade shows. Let me go check it out. And I moved to Connecticut, and I was a reg manager for Reed for a number of years. But I worked my way through almost every department in the organization. And I think I have such an appreciation for what we do and how we do it because I've played a lot of roles and worked my way through. So I really care about what matters. And even today, I think you'll find me at a reg counter on site because that's like my place to be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I know I can't help myself from going into a boneyard or checking or if I'm walking through a show floor and I see a piece of tape or something, I gotta pick it up.
Yeah, same thing. Right.
And I think that what is great about starting from the bottom, working your way through, and having so many different, wearing so many hats throughout the years, is it only makes you better at now being the position you're at, because not only can you identify things that maybe need support or that maybe need some gratitude and love, but you can also you can step in and help anybody and mentor and guide, so yeah.
And I really do feel like today's leadership, you need to have empathy along the way. So understanding the shoes people walk in really does matter. So I always kind of go back and say, hey, I worked in your shoes before too, so let's do this together. So I think that hands-on leadership and the true appreciation goes a long way.
Yeah, there's been something that I've been working on lately, and it's not like natural, but like to give a intentional compliment for something or appreciation for someone doing something. It's like when you look for it, it's all around you.
Totally.
But when you're head down and working and you're going, it's like you just go and then you miss it, and then a week goes by and you do it. And then, so back home, on part of my daily checklist, I actually have that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have it in my 11 a.m. calendar. Maria, go give a compliment. So
and
that
you know what? That goes a long way with your team, though, right?
Yeah. But the thing is, it can't be like a good job. You have to
something
really
meaningful.
identify.
Yeah. So I do something similar, actually. I have a gratitude notebook. So at the end of the day, I write down 3 things I'm grateful for, and it might just be like, hey, that coffee was really good. But there's some things that are better, and right.
Yeah.
So each day, I'm like, I walk away and say, even if it was hard, it was a good day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's great. I actually like that idea. I might have to use that one. So, yeah, appreciation is at the end of the day, what you're grateful for.
Yeah.
So after Reed, what was the next move after Reed?
So after Reed, I took this entrepreneurial jump because I had 2 little kids, and I thought, what am I doing traveling so far away all the time? So I consulted.
Oh, yeah.
And I deemed myself a marketing consultant, and I had 5 or 6 clients, and I hustled trying to get clients, trying to do the work, and I realized I missed a team and missed being in an office. One of my clients was Urban Expositions, who Clarion ultimately bought.
Yeah.
And from that point, I worked myself through the organization, and there were jobs that needed to be done. I said, well, I'll do it. I'll raise my hand. And that was how ultimately I think I got to where I am today.
Yeah, definitely, because that's another thing, is that when some people may get comfortable in what they're doing and just be fine, just staying where they're at, but making yourself uncomfortable, volunteering for things,
Totally.
It makes you learn more. It makes you jump in, feet first to it. So
Yeah, and I think my rule is I always have to be curious, right? If I'm not learning, this isn't where I want to be. And even today in the role I have, I'm learning every single day.
Yeah.
And to me, that's an exciting place to be.
yeah, I have that type of conversation with somebody, whoever's new to the company, in any capacity, whether it's sales, production, exhibit services, and do a sit down and talk a little bit, and then I know it seems like a lot and it's overwhelming. I said, but I can assure you that even this week I'm learning new things.
Yes.
So you're never going to know it all. So don't get overwhelmed. It'll come.
Right.
You got to get your reps in, and as it comes, things get easier.
Right.
But it's never going to be easy.
No, and you
It's
have to
gonna get
learn
easier.
along the way, right? It's okay if it's not a success every time. It's what did you learn from it and how do you move forward?
Yeah.
And the thing we talk about a lot with our team is challenge the status quo. It doesn't have to be how it's always been done.
Yeah.
Think about what matters to your customers. So
Yeah.
that's what's cool about this is you also have so much ability to do things so often. You can learn, you can try, you can fail, you can grow.
Yeah.
And I think that matters a lot.
Yeah, and actually, you touched on something with the challenging status quo. One thing that we found really valuable after doing a couple of acquisitions and merging people into the fold was we were like, you know what, we don't know everything the best. So let's take a look at what the other companies were doing well,
Yeah.
and let's make that part of our ethos. And we can bring them into the fold on a lot of things, but then we can adopt some of the things that they were doing well. And
I
that's,
love it because you bought them for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So the knowledge there is important. We're doing the same thing. There's a nuance there that you can't corporatize everything, if that's a word, right? You have to make sure there's something special and there's opportunity for both sides to learn.
Yeah. So you said with Urban, you were a consultant for Urban and then joined their team.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I joined, we only had 16 people in the office, which was so crazy. So back then we were HR and everything. So as we had staff changes, we have to call the locksmith to change the locks in the door. So
Wearing
much
many
has
hats,
changed.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But what I love is being back with a team and being back with people who have that same passion to grow and build a business. And that's truly what Clarion has done in North America is get the right culture, get the right talent, keep growing and keep innovating. And, selfishly I'll say, I think we're heads and tails above because I've got people who are committed to the product and to the customer.
Yeah, I know quite a few people in your team, and I know that they are definitely fans of the company, and they shout that, how happy they are to be a part of Clarion. So you guys have been doing the right thing over the last few years for sure, because I see a lot of people that are really, really happy with what they're doing.
It does feel good, right? It feels good to know you're doing good work, but also with good people. It's a lot of time in the trenches, and you want that team with you.
So after the acquisition for there, then what was the next roles and responsibilities you had after the acquisition of Urban?
So I ran a couple of shows as a marketing director. So I did soup to nuts, the brand, the execution, the delivery. I grew into a VP. I took on a couple other departments. So I just kept evolving and growing my leadership and sort of the skills I took on. So I went from events to the media side, did both of those and kept growing. And interestingly enough, for the CEO role, I actually raised my hand for it. And I'll be honest, it was scary at first. When I opened my mouth and said, don't count me out, like that's something I'd want to try, I was almost like, oh, Liz, what did you say? Right? Then I was like, I don't know if I can do this. But honestly, it's been a ride and a good team along the side.
Well, I'm really glad you did that because you never know when or what it would have happened had you not spoke up and said, I'm the person.
And you know what I think it's great about it is it shows the industry and my team members, there's not always one path to get to where you want to go. And having a marketing background is certainly a different background to lead a company.
Yeah.
But I think it brings a different perspective in the age that we're in today, and surrounding yourself with people who complement your skills always, I think, goes a long way.
Yeah, I mean, like standing right over here is one of those examples. Is my chief revenue officer actually started in a warehouse.
See, right?
Yeah. So working his whole career, 20 plus years, and going to school and learning, both sides of the business and also fundamentals and things like that as well, and working his way through the creative. So yeah, you never know what you're going to do. Just keep on pushing yourself and
exactly
growing.
And just be curious. Like there's a lot to learn, and there's really good people I think in the industry to take time to teach you. And honestly, joining associations, going to meetings like this, it matters. matters because you get different perspectives and the face time you have with people like yourself. Like this is for me is a growth opportunity right now.
And you actually, it's funny, perfect segue, because I was about to ask you, you said there's great people to learn from. I always like to hear about who were your mentors? Who were the people that helped pull you up along the way?
Yeah, I think I've been very fortunate with this, and I've had a mix of both men and women. So I just want everyone to know it's you're able to do it no matter who you're looking for a mentor. So Courtney Muller is a huge mentor of mine. She's helped me both as a woman leader and thinking about growth and opportunity. Greg Topalian, of course, he is an amazing innovator and visionary. So he's taught me how to push the boundaries with thinking and tell the story. Ken Holsinger has been tremendous to me, learning about industry research, how you apply it, how you think about that next generation. So I'm super fortunate in my career to keep learning, and you keep looking out because there's a lot of mentors, and I generally think people here want to help each other.
Yeah.
And for me, it's also important to give back, so I always look to mentor too and bring my team along.
Yeah, it's great to have access to subject matter experts too.
Totally.
And one thing, I heard this a while ago, and there's a guy who I follow in business leadership. His name's David Meltzer, and he's always talks about like other people have paid a dummy tax. Just ask the questions. Everyone is happy to help. Everyone's happy to guide you along the way and tell you where they may have made a mistake. Yeah. So it's like take advantage of people that have already paid the dummy tax.
Absolutely. And you know what, even now I reach out to people and just try to make connections because I think it matters to keep that network growing, and the different perspectives you hear are invaluable.
Yeah. It's funny because I've been known as a serial connector myself, and it's like everybody's like, call Rich, he's got a guy.
But that's a good thing, right?
Oh yeah,
that's a good
sure.
thing.
Yeah, because I also want other people to win.
Exactly.
I want people to connect with the right people that's going to help them, and someday I'm going to need something somewhere, and it'll come back around. But until that day, I want other people to keep winning. So.
And what's so cool about that is I feel like even our friendship has blossomed because we've had connections, right? And things like this matter. And I look around the industry and say they're not only colleagues who are helping us all grow together, but they're real friends who are truly champions to help celebrate each other.
That's very true.
I'm very emotional with this all of a sudden.
I know. No, it's good though, because and that's what I want to have real conversations about like what's going on with you, because the whole point of me starting this podcast back in the day was I wanted the people to learn more about the people that were doing the thing.
Yes.
Because we spend our whole careers showcasing a brand or a company. So whether it's one of the show brands or Clarion itself, you're the champion of that. But nobody really knows about you personally. Yeah. So that's why I love to tap in a little bit here so people can learn more about you. So.
Yeah, this is fun though, because it's hard because when you're out, you're sort of doing a lot of public things. So this is a good way to get to know other folks.
Definitely. And so now we talked about your new position. What's the most exciting thing right now for what you have coming up next that you're excited? What gets you jazzed to jump out of bed?
Yeah, honestly, and it sounds a little vague maybe, but I think the digital transformation we're going through right now is unbelievable because it's touching every facet of our industry. We are spending a lot of time thinking through how do we really understand and collect data to use it for decision making, and quite honestly, the more I see my teams lean into using data to help them make decisions, the decisions are even stronger. So I'm excited to not only use it to grow the business, but to see my team accelerate their learning by diving in. So I think that's great. The second thing I would say is just that next wave of the new generation coming into events. It's an opportunity for all of us, and I think we have to lean in to say, how do we attract them? How do we encourage them to come? And what are the models on site we have to develop to?
Yeah, I mean, being part of different panels and industry things that I've been involved with, the one thing that I think has been common conversation is like trying to figure out what exactly those people want from this.
Right.
Like, people don't want just boxes and carpet and aisles and things like that. Like, what does that look like that they want to be part of?
Right.
And how do we bring that into the fold? So.
And it's going to look different, and we have to start it now. I have a 17-year-old son who I don't think looks at emails. Like, that is not how he communicates. And I think, well, we do a lot on email. How am I going to shift that as I go forward?
Yeah, you have to send a message through Snapchat. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much for being here. This is great.
I
was happy to learn so much about you and your story, and I'm very excited for what you have coming up in the next few years here.
Thank you. Thanks for your partnership. We appreciate it.